You know how everyone says, eat fresh fruits every day. It's the secret to staying young? George, a 68-year-old retiree from Florida, followed this advice religiously. Every morning, he enjoyed a big bowl of fresh papaya, believing it was a golden ticket to longevity and healthy eating habits. But what he didn't realize was that this so-called superfruit was slowly sabotaging his health. George always felt proud when he picked papayas at the grocery store. Bright orange, packed with vitamins, rich in fiber. What could go wrong, right? But within a few months, something fell off. His knees hurt more than usual. Morning walks left him dizzy, and shockingly, his memory seemed to slip more often. One morning, after feeling unusually weak, his family rushed him to the emergency room. Doctors ran a battery of tests. The surprising culprit? Simple daily mistakes with papaya. It sounds crazy, but George's story isn't unique. Millions of seniors eat papaya thinking it strengthens their joints, sharpens their mind, and keeps their body youthful. But hidden dangers lie beneath that sweet tropical taste, ones you probably never considered. Today, we're uncovering how papaya, when eaten wrong, can contribute to joint pain, memory loss, and even risky interactions with medications. But more importantly, we'll show you how simple tweaks can turn this danger fruit into a true health booster. To understand where George went wrong, we first need to debunk some common myths about papaya and reveal why most people, maybe even you, are eating it completely wrong. So where did George go wrong? It started with what many of us believe. Papaya is one of the healthiest fruits you can eat. Packed with vitamin C, folate, fiber, and antioxidants, it's been labeled a superfood in countless magazines and TV shows. But here's the truth. Even the healthiest foods can become harmful if we misunderstand how to use them. For George and many other seniors, it was these little everyday habits that build up into serious health issues. Let's start with one of the biggest myths. If it's natural, it's safe. People assume that eating more fruit automatically means better health. George fell into that trap too, doubling up on papaya, thinking it would protect his joints and memory. What he didn't realize was that too much papaya can lead to digestive issues, dizziness, and even impact how medications work in your body. And then there's a classic mistake of ignoring proper food handling. Papaya grows in tropical climates, where it's exposed to more pesticides and bacteria. George never thought twice about washing the fruit. "I'm not eating the peel anyway," he would say. But studies show harmful bacteria and pesticide residues often seep through the skin during cutting, contaminating the flesh. Seniors, especially those with weaker immune systems, are even more vulnerable to these contaminants. Another hidden danger? Many seniors, like George, take medications daily. Blood thinners, diabetes meds, blood pressure pills. All of these can interact badly with enzymes in papaya, especially papain. Instead of improving circulation and digestion, papaya can silently cause fluctuations in blood pressure, thin the blood too much, or reduce the effectiveness of important prescriptions. George also bought into the belief that more is better, eating large servings every day. But too much papaya can actually lead to joint inflammation, muscle fatigue, and even interfere with healthy eating habits by causing unbalanced nutrient intake. But George's story doesn't stop with the mistakes. It's the turning point that's even more important, because once he learned the truth about these common missteps, everything changed. His health, his joints, and his memory took a turn for better, and it all started with understanding exactly what went wrong. Everything came crashing down for George the morning he landed in the emergency room. He woken up feeling unusually lightheaded, his joints aching more than ever, and a strange fog clouding his memory. Doctors quickly ruled out a heart attack, but they noticed signs of dehydration, nutrient imbalance, and dangerously fluctuating blood pressure. After more tests, they found elevated inflammatory markers, mild bacterial infection, likely from contaminated food, and irregular clotting factors. The shocking connection? His daily healthy bowl of papaya. The hospital dietitian sat down with George and walked him through the dangers that had quietly built up over months. First, his habit of eating large quantities of papaya was causing digestive distress. Too much fiber was upsetting his gut, leading to bloating, cramps, and fatigue. Worse, papain enzymes were interfering with his blood pressure meds, thinning his blood more than it should, and making him feel dizzy after meals. On top of that, The unwashed fruit skin had allowed dangerous bacteria like Salmonella and Listeria to enter his system, triggering low-grade inflammation that aggravated his joints and weakened his immune response. All these minor problems, stacked on top of each other, had driven him into the health crisis he never saw coming. The dietitian showed George research from the CDC and the Journal of Food Safety, studies highlighting how tropical fruits like papaya, if mishandled, could be silent culprits behind digestive upsets, joint issues, and even hospitalizations in seniors. George finally understood it wasn't papaya itself, but how he was eating it. Determined not to let this fruit control his health, George committed to learning everything about eating it right. He realized smart changes could make the difference between feeling constantly drained and regaining his strength. But it wasn't just about avoiding mistakes. It was about knowing how to transform papaya into a true ally for his joints, brain, and overall vitality, starting with identifying the exact 7 mistakes most seniors make without realizing it. When George began digging deeper, he was shocked to realize just how many everyday mistakes he'd been making with papaya. What was supposed to be his healthiest morning habit had quietly turned into a recipe for inflammation, memory fog, and unpredictable energy crashes. He made it his mission to understand every common mistake, so he could fix his health and avoid another trip to the hospital. And you deserve to know them too, especially because these mistakes are surprisingly easy to make and often overlooked. Mistake number 1. Skipping the wash, inviting dangerous bacteria. Most people don't wash papaya because they don't eat the peel. But research from the CDC shows this habit leads to cross-contamination. The bacteria on the skin, like Salmonella and Listeria, get transferred to the flesh when slicing. For seniors, who naturally have lower immune responses, these bacteria can lead to painful joint inflammation, upset stomach, and even dangerous infections. George never thought about this until doctors traced his gut infection back to unwashed papaya. From that day forward, his first step became washing the skin thoroughly under running water. Mistake number 2, eating it too green, causing digestive stress and joint pain. George loved grabbing whatever papaya was on sale, even if it was green and firm. What he didn't realize was that unripe papaya contains high levels of latex and papain, which, in large amounts, irritate the digestive system. For people with sensitive stomachs or joint issues, this creates more bloating, cramping, and joint stiffness. Worse, for older women, especially those pregnant or menopausal, unripe papaya can contribute to hormonal fluctuations and uterine contractions. George learned to wait until the skin turned golden yellow with a slight softness, ensuring better digestion and less joint irritation. Mistake number 3, combining papaya with prescription medications. George's biggest mistake? Eating papaya right after taking his morning medications. Papaya contains powerful enzymes and natural laxatives that can alter how certain drugs are absorbed, especially blood pressure medications, blood thinners, and anti-inflammatories. Studies from the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology reveal that papaya can reduce drug absorption, making treatments less effective or dangerously potent. Seniors on medication, like George, need to space out papaya consumption at least 2 hours away from prescriptions, a simple step that dramatically improved George's blood pressure stability. Mistake number 4, eating too much, causing energy slumps and muscle fatigue. More papaya must be better, right? George thought so until his energy levels plummeted. Papaya is high in fiber and digestive enzymes, but overdoing it, more than a cup daily, can cause bloating, diarrhea, and even nutrient malabsorption. Excess fiber can block iron and calcium uptake, leading to weaker muscles and fragile bones. Worse, the high beta-carotene levels can cause skin yellowing, creating anxiety about jaundice. George cut back to a moderate serving, 1 small slice a day, and instantly felt less sluggish, with more steady energy throughout the day. Mistake number 5, throw out the seeds, missing out on gut healing power. George used to scoop out papaya seeds and toss them in the trash, not knowing he was throwing away one of nature's most powerful gut protectors. Papaya seeds are loaded with digestive enzymes, antibacterial compounds, and healthy fats that support gut health, reduce bloating, and even improve metabolism. Research in the Journal of Medicinal Food shows papaya seeds help reduce harmful gut bacteria while promoting better nutrient absorption. Now, George sprinkles a teaspoon of crushed seeds into smoothies, giving his digestion and joints a little extra daily support. Mistake number 6. Storing it the wrong way, risking food poisoning. Papaya is fragile, and George never knew that storing it improperly could be just as risky as not washing it. Leaving ripe papaya out at room temperature for too long allows bacteria to multiply rapidly. The USDA recommends refrigerating ripe papaya within a day of ripening and eating cut papaya within 48 hours. George realized his habit of cutting large portions and leaving them uncovered on the kitchen counter was a fast track to foodborne illness. Switching to airtight containers and cold storage preserved both flavor and safety, leading to fewer gut upsets. Mistake number 7. Ignoring allergic reactions and body signals. Last but most dangerous, ignoring the body signals. George had experienced occasional itching in his mouth after eating papaya, but brushed it off. Turns out, mild papaya allergies are more common than people think, especially among those with latex sensitivities. This is called latex fruit syndrome. The allergy can escalate from mild irritation to serious reactions like swelling, difficulty breathing, and even anaphylaxis. George now listens to his body, cutting back or eliminating foods when early warning signs show up, protecting his joints, brain, and energy before it's too late. Learning about these 7 mistakes transformed George's relationship with food. He didn't need to eliminate papaya. He needed to understand it better. This shift in perspective turned his energy, memory, and joint health around, setting the foundation for his recovery. But George didn't stop there. He wanted to rebuild his strength from the ground up. So he set out to learn the healthiest way to eat papaya that would actually help his joints, sharpen his mind, and restore vitality. George knew he couldn't give up papaya completely. He just had to master how to enjoy it the right way. With guidance from his doctor and nutritionist, he developed a simple, senior-friendly routine that transformed papaya from a hidden health risk into a powerful daily health booster. And the best part? You can do the exact same thing from your own kitchen without expensive supplements or complicated diets. The first thing George changed was how he handled his papaya. No more slicing straight from the grocery bag. He began rinsing the whole fruit under cold water, gently scrubbing the skin to remove any pesticide residue and invisible bacteria. This one small step drastically reduced the risk of foodborne illness and helped ease his stomach discomfort. Next, George waited until his papaya was perfectly ripe, soft to the touch, golden on the outside, with a fragrant tropical smell. Ripe papaya is easier to digest, less irritating to joints, and doesn't mess with his medications. He even timed his meals carefully, keeping at least a 2-hour gap between taking pills and eating papaya, which kept his blood pressure and energy levels steady throughout the day. Portion control was another game changer. Instead of overeating, George stuck to a sensible serving, 1 small slice or roughly 1 cup a day, just enough to enjoy its natural benefits without overloading on fiber or beta-carotene. He also made sure to keep the seeds. At first, the taste was a little sharp, but George got creative, blending a teaspoon of crushed papaya seeds into his smoothies or sprinkling them on salads. Over time, his digestion improved, bloating disappeared, and his morning walks felt lighter on his knees. Finally, George stayed disciplined with storage. Ripe papaya always went into airtight containers in the fridge, eaten within 2 days of slicing. This small habit kept his gut protected from harmful bacteria and ensured he was getting the best flavor and nutrition from every bite. With these changes, George felt stronger, clearer, and more energized. But for George, eating better wasn't just about avoiding mistakes. It was about building a future where every food choice worked in his favor, helping him stay sharp, active, and independent well into his later years, which inspired his next life-changing discovery. With just a few small changes, George completely turned his life around. The joint pain that once made him dread getting out of bed slowly faded. His mind, once foggy and forgetful, felt sharper and clearer. Morning dizziness was replaced with steady energy, all from learning how to eat one simple fruit the right way. What surprised George the most was how much control he actually had over his health. Instead of feeling like his age was holding him back, he felt empowered by knowledge and simple daily habits. Papaya didn't have to be a silent enemy. It became a trusted ally, helping him protect his joints, sharpen his memory, and stabilize his energy. He was no longer scared of foods that once seemed confusing or risky. It wasn't about cutting out everything he loved. It was about making mindful choices, washing fruit properly, watching portion sizes, respecting medication timing, and listening to his body signals. These were tiny tweaks that brought massive improvements. George's story isn't unique. It's a story many seniors could have if they just knew how to turn healthy into healthier. Now it's your turn to take control of your well-being, to make sure every bite you take is working for you, not against you. If you've ever been confused about which fruits help or hurt your joints, memory, or energy, I'd love to hear your story. Have you made changes that helped your health? What's been your experience with papaya? Leave a comment below and let's build a community where seniors share wisdom and grow stronger together. And if you want to learn more simple food swaps that keep your brain sharp and joints pain-free, don't miss the next video where we uncover the hidden dangers in common breakfast foods.